Welcome to Conflict Havoc number 2. This video is about Chris Benoit and the Hall of Fame. Alright, so here's what I'm going to tell you before I go any further with this video. I cannot make this happen. I'm not the person to make this happen, but I am the person to give you my point of view. And in my point of view, because Chris Benoit is one of, if not my favorite wrestler of all time, I'm going to try to be as real as I can. Alright? And for those who don't know Chris Benoit, if you do a real quick Google search, you'll find that Chris Benoit was a great wrestler, WCW, WWE, a couple of independents as the Pegasus Kid. And he, unfortunately, in 2007, killed his youngest son, his wife, and himself in Georgia. Alright, so let us begin. So I read an article, a couple of them actually, and I did a video, I think, about one. So, one of the articles, like last week, had Chris Jericho saying that Chris Benoit should never be in the Hall of Fame. The article today that I read was Stone Cold Steve Austin, and it also had Jim Ross. So the two articles. Choking on ice cream, so sorry about that. And so it was two articles. Alright, so Stone Cold gets 2 thumbs up, and he agreed with me on one important fact. Chris Benoit, hands down, was one of the best wrestlers in the world. That's where Stone Cold and I agree. Stone Cold gets a second check because he says that half of him believes that Chris Benoit should be in the Hall of Fame. However, because of his wrestling ability and only his wrestling ability and the fact that Chris Benoit was a nice person, a workhorse, and all this stuff that Stone Cold preached, he said this alone would have gotten him in the Hall of Fame had he not murdered his son and his wife. And that's where we have a conflict of interest. And I respect Stone Cold. Believe me, I do not want him to reach through this damn screen and put me in a Stone Cold Stunner. Because if anybody could do it, it would be him. But anyway, I think because one of the guys that I read one of their comments, I wish I could find the damn article. Now I can't because technology. One of the guys, he pointed out that we still can't forgive Chris Benoit. You know, and I kind of agree with that guy because it seems like no matter what, we can't forgive Chris Benoit. And the reason why I say that, because it's funny, the Stone Cold would say the same thing. And, you know, when it came down to it, this is not it. I don't know who that is. Anyway, the thing is that Stone Cold is probably right. Because the world has not forgiven Chris Benoit. I have forgiven Chris Benoit. Mostly because he's my favorite wrestler. Secondly, because I'm still in shock to this day that he would actually have done that, because the rumor was before this stuff happened that he was set to come back to the top of the WWE mountain and regain the title. Again, that was a rumor. Don't believe too deep into that. But that was the rumor. And it was gonna be him against Triple H or whatever. And that following Monday, he he was dead, you know, and everybody didn't know what had happened. So that Monday night, Raw Wrestling gave him a tribute. They barely did any wrestling, and CM Punk and all of them were talking. And then after the news broke that he murdered his wife and child, things went to hell for him really, really quickly. You know, like really, 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 really quickly. And the thing with that, you know, alright, it's like they took everything that he ever done for seats for WCW in WWE and threw that shit out the window. They pretty much gave him the big F you. And I get it. I don't like it, but I get it. And the thing is, we have we have our own opinions, all right? No matter what, we will always have our own opinions, and we are going to piss people off with those opinions, or we are going to open people's eyes. I'm hoping to open your eyes, all right? I'm not saying Stone Cold is wrong. No, I'm not. But the fact that no one has forgiven Chris Benoit and that he should be in the Hall of Fame is only my opinion. No, because I think that he should be in the Hall of Fame. Everyone else does not. And I get it. I get it. I understand why. I get it. I don't like it, but I understand why. Now, when you come to the fact that if you take away the fact that he murdered his family, excuse me, if you take away the fact that he murdered his wife and his child and then he killed himself, if you just take credit for all the wrestling that he's done, everyone would say he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Alright? Now, on the other hand, you can't displace the fact that he killed his wife and his family. No, you can't. Because it's living proof that he did that. He literally killed his wife and his family, and he killed himself. And that was one of the things. I'm trying to find an article in case you're wondering why my eyes are down here. Which it looks like it's a no show. Because the further I scroll, the worse things get here. Giving me more stories to do, but the worse things get. I found damn near every wrestler except for the damn article I need. So that kind of sucks. But, I'm not going to find this damn article. I don't know why I'm virtually, searching for nothing. So, I'm going to have to carry on without the article, because if I keep looking for this article, I'm going to never be able to tell y'all what I want to say. Alright. So, anyway, Stone Cold said that in the article that, he was the nicest guy you ever met. He was workhorse in the square circle. He was exceptionally professional. And somewhere along the line, I guess he just fucking lost it, I guess, because when he did this horrible act, they never ever forgave him. And he had not been in a video game since then, Now, I'm going to explain how I feel on that, too. Because if you play the video games, like when THQ had them, as to when 2K took over, as the THQ having him, he was in most of their games. But after his death, he wasn't in any more games. Now, the year before, mind you, that Eddie Guerrero passed away from an overdose of steroids. And as bad as the drug influence has been in the wrestling community and all these other laws and how they always hound on wrestlers and making them take drug tests, and not just wrestlers but athletes in general, it's like, you gotta take a drug test. If you're taking any kind of supplement that is a performance enhancement drug, your ass is out. You're busted. You're done. And that has been how it has been. But they never, in the games, and even in the Hall of Fame, took those into consideration, because a lot of wrestlers were caught using steroids, and even some even claimed that Vince gave it to them, and they kept their jobs, and they also stayed in the WWE Hall of Fame. Eddie Guerrero died from a drug overdose and was put into the Hall of Fame. The next year, Chris Benoit murder-suicide. He's not able to be in any video games. They took the Crippler Crossface out of video games. They took his music out of video games. They did everything they can to admonish this man as much as possible. Am I saying that they're wrong on a business standpoint? No. As a Chris Benoit fan, I do miss being able to put people in the Crippler Crossface. But when I create my own character, I only use Chris Benoit moves and Rob Van Dam moves. So I'd have the best of both worlds. I have a flyer and a tough guy. But mostly I use Chris Benoit moves because hands down he was one of the toughest son of a guns in the WWE. last man standing matches, ladder matches, all the matches that you would never think that he was in. Oh, he was in them. That diving headbutt off the top of the turnbuckle, the crippler crossface. He had 2 finishing moves, like everyone else generally does. He had a submission, he had a diving headbutt, and I forgot what the other one was. But just like Dean Malenko, he was a master of submissions. So, and I don't know if Dean Malenko's in the Hall of Fame, but if he's not, then he should be. Because he was one of those guys, man. Dean Malenko was one of those guys. And Malenko could put you in anything from anywhere at any time. And the same thing with, God damn it, Storm. I can't think of his first name. It's not going to come to me before the end of this video. But Storm, he came from ECW. And same thing with Sandman. I don't know if they're in Sabu. I don't know if they're ever going to get in the WWE Hall of Fame. But Sting's in both WWE and Impact's Hall of Fames. Kurt Angle, I think, is in both. And, no. It won't be long for The Rock and Stone Cold are in the Hall of Fame if they're not there already, because I'm a little bit behind on the Hall of Fame stuff. But I don't think it's fair that Benoit is not there. I think that he should be there just for his wrestling credit alone. The problem is that big stain that he has left in the world by murdering his wife, his son, and himself. It kind of puts you on the fence. So he more than likely, no matter who says anything, especially a fan, says that Chris Benoit should be there. He's not going to be there. And sadly, that's what this video is about. That Chris Benoit is not going to be in the Hall of Fame. And he's never going to return to another WWE video game. And those are the 2 things that kind of hurt me. Because as a fan, I like doing Chris Benoit's season. Even though technically all the seasons is the same story. Just the season had just whatever character you put in for season, that's the character you run through the whole thing, except for when you make your own character, then you get whatever the computer decides that you should have at the time, or however you set the thing up, whether you're a heel or a face. But back in the THQ games, whatever character you put, the season was the same season, almost for like the first 9 games or whatever. But by the time they got to where they put John Cena on there and they changed the keypad where they were doing all this other shit, and triangle was now run instead of the special, and the specials were no longer the R2s, and you had to reconfigure all the stuff. When they started doing that, the game started getting harder, and it was better when they were masher games and the special would come up and you could just stun the shit out of people and all the other stuff. I'm going way back, sorry. But he hasn't been in another video game. And I think the last video game he was in was like before T2K took over. THQ had went up, belly up, they bankrupt or whatever. And I think that was like the last THQ game was the last game that Benoit was in. Again, I won't swear to that because I don't even recall if I got the damn game. I don't think I have 2005. I know I have 2006, 7, 8, and 9. I'm pretty sure I missed 20. And I have 20 and 21 now, but I'm pretty sure I missed a couple in between because when they went to the PlayStation 4, I broke. So that was it right there. Now I have a PlayStation 4. I have 220 and 219. So other than that, but they still don't have a complete female season, or this new one you have like you're a male and female, and I'm like, yeah, this sucks. Either let me be the male or let me be the female and run my season, and it's not happening. But anyway, completely off track. The fact that Chris Benoit will not be in the Hall of Fame for WWE or any wrestling for that matter really sucks. Again, I would personally take it into consideration that if I was in charge of that, I would fight for him. I would fight for him to be in there. It would probably cost me my job, but I would fight for him. And I was like, look, dude, whether we like it or not, when Chris Benoit left WCW and went to WWE while it was still WWF before they got sued by the World Wildlife Foundation, he put them on the map because Chris Benoit had a big following. And when Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Raven his Flock, Saturn, Scotty Riggs, I'm missing like 6 people, when all of those guys left WWE and left WCW and went to WWF, which is now the WWE, it put a lot of fucking wrestlers in WCW on hurt, because this is what started the fall of the Monday Night Wars. This is what led WCW to sell to Shane McMahon. This is what led ECW to sell to Stephanie McMahon. And the reason this happened is let's keep that shit real. Wherever Benoit went, the fans went. Because when Benoit became a Four Horseman, everybody was tuning in that night. When Benoit became a Four Horseman, oh, you better believe everybody was tuning in that night, because it was like no one knew that he was going to be a Four Horseman. I forgot who else was a Four Horseman with him, but he was one of the last Four Horsemen. All right, he really was one of the last Four Horsemen. There was a football player who had long black hair, because Ric Flair picked the last three of the Four Horsemen. I know Benoit was one of them. I'm missing the other two, because one was a football player. He had long hair like mine, but he was going a little bit more balder up here than I am. But he, I forgot what his damn move was, but he wasn't Tully Blanchard, because Tully Blanchard retired and never came back, which is why Tessa Blanchard is kicking everybody's ass now. But when the Four Horsemen somehow broke up and the NWO clusterfuck happened, next thing you know, everybody's jumping ship to WWE, WWF at the time. And all of a sudden, the Nitro Girls were the only thing really holding WCW together as far as like the shows. They stopped having heavy hitters, and then Kevin Nash walked, and then Scott Hall walked, and then X-Pac walked, and then NWO was done. They had 3 fractions, but only 2 fractions was still there, which was Sting and Lex Luger's red NWO, and whoever was running the white NWO, and then you had the green NWO, who was the LA faction, or the Latin faction of it, which Eddie Guerrero was in. And then after that shit, they all decided that they were going to leave wrestling and start jumping ship. The next thing you know, Eddie, Benoit, Scotty Riggs, The Flock, Perry Saturn, all those guys, and Moppy jumped over to WWF. And next damn thing you know, it was on. And then they had Gilbert, and then Goldberg finally came over, and it was on. Roddy Piper made a comeback. Austin dropped the ball. Rock picked up the ball and ran with it. And it was just some really good stuff going on. That being said, as I end this video, you don't have to agree with me, and I respect your opinion, but as far as I am concerned, me, James Williams Jr., as far as I'm concerned, Chris Benoit deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. If only for one damn day. And they can do that. That WWE, if you're listening, because I'm like, look, dude, just put him in there for one day, then eject him. It would be history in the making, but, it would also be, it won't be the only stain in the WWE, but it would be like, okay, we have decided that we are going to give Chris Benoit a one-day Hall of Fame thing. Now, let's not forget, he has another son who did not get killed because he was with his mom instead of being with the younger son and his mom. But Chris Benoit had 2 wives. So for those who don't know, Chris Benoit actually has an older son. And I don't know how his life has turned out. No one's been keeping tabs on him in the WWE or anywhere else, so we don't know how he's doing. However, to you, if you're out there, young man, your father was definitely one of the best, if not the best in the world. And if you're out there, you should be pushing for your father to also get at least one damn day in the WWE Hall of Fame. No offense if I have offended him, but I'm a big Chris Benoit fan. I'm sorry it brings me to tears that he will never get into the WWE Hall of Fame, and I think that his son should push for that, and I think the WWE should let him at least have one day. What's one day? It'll probably blow the world wide open, but it'll be one day. He deserves one day, at least one day. Thanks for watching. This is Comfort Havoc number 2. Be seeing you.